Did you know the city of Babylon is over 20,000 years old in human years? Or that the origins of its greatness may be supernatural? Hello and welcome to WordWise. I'm Nate, and today's video is about the most famous city of the ancient world, Babylon, and the people who made it great, the ancient Babylonian comics. And don't forget, the easiest way to support our channel is by giving us a thumbs up and by subscribing to our channel. If you'd like to leave a message, there's a link down below. We're in here talking about Babylon the Great and a few of the others, are we not? Most people know about Babylon either from the Bible or from references by the equally ancient Great Man cult as found in the Big Book, or the cult of Isis in Egypt, and the ABC cult from ancient downtown Babylon, along with less ancient cults like the Illuminati or the Freemasons. Together, these sources form an authoritative resource for understanding Babylon. Beside that, there is exciting archaeological evidence coming to light. The digging at the city ruins hardly ever stops. Babylon is located in the Fertile Crescent, or the cradle of civilization, or Mesopotamia, or more recently, the Middle East. We're talking about ancient Babylon. Present-day Babylon is the ruins of a once great civilization. Or is it? Modern descendants of the ABC may be building Babylon better even in the present age. Babylon the Great was called that not for its wide streets, but for its splendor, its unsurpassed knowledge, and its great art. But where did all this skill and knowledge come from? Most scholars and archaeologists agree it came from either angels or aliens. These aliens and angels, or AAs, were naturally a giving sort, and they gave of their knowledge to the people in weekly comedy talk shows presented on the Alien Broadcast Channel, or ABC. Although not supported by archaeology, many ancient sources claim the original Tower of Babel was a broadcast tower. Followers of these AAs transcribed these broadcasts and encoded them in their ongoing comics manual, Knowledge of Everything. Comedy was big in Babylon and with the AAs throughout the many risings and fallings of the Great Babylon. Somewhere in the 18th century BCE, these messengers of the AA were first called ABCs, or Ancient Babylonian Comics. It is important to understand that there are three, maybe four great Babylons. The first, nearly 20,000 years old, is often attributed to a godlike man named Shurgun, who built it up from a tiny village with his bare hands. As a god man, he was familiar, possibly related to the AAs. Presumably, it was he who commissioned the great broadcast tower. The ABC, unnamed at that time, were avid listeners and budding joke tellers. Shurgun was followed by the great lawgiver Humor Babi 1,000 years or so later. As he extended his empire, the followers of the AA got an extension too. Humor Babi's laws gained acceptance with the ABC. In fact, many of his laws can still be found in the ancient comic manuals of today. Recent archaeological finds indicate that it was during Humor Babby's reign that the ABC first got its own space. Then they got sacked by the Hittites. That was the first great fall, and catapulted the pop single Babylon the Great is Falling to #1. That sack was followed by the one with the Cashewites and a few of the others, each with their own pop hits. After about 7 centuries, Sennacherib, an Ashurian, became king, tore the whole place down. But his successor, Esarhaddon, spent his whole life making it even better than it was before. This was Babylon the Great II. Thanks to Esarhaddon, the club scene flourished, and the ABC became headliners in a city awash with comedy. It didn't hurt. They were also advisors to the king. This was possibly the greatest Babylon had ever been, and all that success was hard to handle. Ashurians, Chilidons, you made me ones, even clacks started moving in. The empire got smaller, and the city just lost its soul. It was not so much sacked as crumbled. It took only about 2,000 years for somebody to get fed up, and that somebody was Nebuchadnezzar, a true Babylonian. Neb, or Chad as he was called in the inner circle, kicked the bums out, grabbed the reins of power, and made downtown Babylon the wonder of the ancient world. The most splendid attraction was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And some accounts say the aliens hung them from their spaceships, while others say the angels raised them up from the earth. Still other accounts credit the ABC. There were also 4 wide chariot races at the top of the city wall, and open mic nights with fabulous prizes. This was Neo-Babylon, the third great rising. Unfortunately, it only lasted as long as Chad and his boys were running the show. Eventually, the empire fell to the Persians, and the Greeks, and the Romans. But the great thing is, they all loved the city of Babylon. Babylon was a hot town well into the current era. Recent archaeological finds have shed some light on these comic sages of Babylon, not only in the glory days of the Nezar group, but going back even to the Tower of Babel. Among stone tablets found in the Old City, where the original entrance to the tower is said to have been, diggers found this inscription: ABC, 2nd floor, above the bicycle store. This is the same address as found in a fragment from the Greek occupation. Even more exciting is the discovery in the new city, from a later rising, of the ruins of an actual venue or comedy club. There, archaeologists found schedules and contracts and a large pillar inscribed with the codified house rules of the ABC. Experts at Surprise University in the United States have been able to translate some of them. One fragment from the pillar translates as, "You don't see it, but it could be," or "Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it isn't there." Another, many scholars say, reads, "People will believe anything if given no alternative," but the more direct translation is, "A steady voice assures the children." The backstage area was literally littered with clay scripts, crib notes, and cryptic jokes, all of which could take decades to translate. But references to deities, diverse realms, and subjects such as jamming or logging abound. Although they are referenced in the creation myths and writings of religious cults as late as the 20th century CE, much of what we know about Babylon and the ABCs comes from historians, poets, travel writers, and from the great civilizations of the day. Here are some examples. This fragment from Nothan speaks of Babylonians as those sons of A and A's and their children, the ABC. A papyrus piece from the 3rd dynasty Abject portrays Babylonian comics as pretty smart, but they could work on timing. And yet another one from Ancient Consumer, Babylon or Bust. You get the idea. Babylon the Great will be here all week. Thanks for joining us and learning about Babylon the Great, featuring the ancient Babylonian comics. If you have comments, please share them in the comments section below. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe now. Next time, we'll be talking about modern Babylon and the MBCs. Tune in then. This is Nate. Bye.